really wanted to like the lake. Like, it's not very often that we get kaiju flicks that are coming out of anywhere else other than, like, Japan or the US. And the last time a kaiju movie, or should I say, Thaiju movie, came out, to my knowledge, was 2004's Garuda. And, well, that movie, if anybody's seen it, was butt, for lack of a better term. So when the trailer for Lake dropped, and promised us what seemed to be a traditional monster movie, you know, I was totally on board. Anytime you give me a practical effects monster, I simp. Somewhere in a small village in Thailand, in a lake that doesn't look anywhere as near as deep as it should be for the size of monster that comes out of it, has a monster come out of it. Why? Because a little girl comes across a massive, gooey, gross-looking egg, and her uncle is just like, come on, man. Come on, like, talk about parental control here. You're not even gonna question it? Is it common to find eggs that look like they popped out of a chicken's ass the size of a shark's mouth? Which is a real gross mental image to have, but whatever. Like, look at the size of that thing. What do you think that came out of? And they're just like, hey, you can keep it. Let her keep it. It's fine. But there isn't just an egg that's gone missing. A smaller, presumably teenage, I don't know, monster thing comes out of the lake and starts rampaging through the village. But not before attacking the uncle. And somehow, this attack infects the uncle with psychic abilities that gives him a telekinetic link with the monster. How? I don't know. They don't explain it. It just kind of happens. So then the big old bitch mama comes out of the lake searching for its egg. And I guess the teen, or is that, maybe it's supposed to be a male, because usually in the animal kingdom, males tend to be smaller than the females. Maybe that's what's going on here. Look, man, I swear to God that I tried to pay attention. I really did. I'm not like one of those people that needs to constantly have a barrage of just stuff exploding in order to be entertained. Like, I can enjoy a complex story, but the moment that you try adding like 5 different characters and a bunch of subplots to a movie that should really just be about a giant monster coming out of a lake, I screw. Like, my brain is just like, nah, dude, I'm checking out. I can't do it. So like I was saying earlier, Lake is one of those monster movies that puts a lot more emphasis on the human drama than it does the monsters. This is not always a bad thing. You know, look at The Host. The great characters made that movie entertaining. You didn't need to constantly focus on the monster. Then in this movie, there's essentially like 5 main characters to this thing. You got the mom, the daughter who finds the egg, the uncle, a cop and his daughter who kind of looks the same age as the cop. I don't know what's going on there. There's also like this military dude who doesn't really seem like he's part of the military. He's just like one guy in an army suit or like a captain's garb. I don't know what he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be a captain, but he's the only guy in this entire movie that has anything to do with the military. I know, like, not every monster movie has to have the military. It's like a cliche, but if you're gonna do it, just do it. Like, this guy's in the military, but then he just kind of like incites like a mob to attack the smaller monster with like baseball bats and planks of wood and shit, instead of like actually like mobilizing a military unit to actually do something about this. It's kind of hilarious, to be honest with you. Problem is, none of them are interesting. And for the most part, the cop never really meets up with the mom character until near the very end of the movie, I think. So like, why even bother? It's like Jurassic World Dominion, where you had 2 subplots that didn't feel like they were part of the same movie, running parallel to each other rather than fleshing out one plot and actually trying to make it good. And speaking of Jurassic Park, about an hour into this film, we get what is probably the best sequence in the entire movie, in which the mama Thaiju attacks a group of vehicles in the middle of a massive rainstorm. It's atmospheric, it's moody, and it's nothing more than a carbon copy of another atmospheric, moody, suspenseful moment from another movie that I'd much rather be watching. Honestly, between this, the first monster attack that feels all too similar to the opening attack from The Host, the monster searching for its baby, which just kind of feels like the plot to, I don't know, Gorgo, or even The Lost World, another Jurassic Park movie this is ripping off. Like, it dawned on me pretty quickly that all the good parts of this movie are just cannibalized off of the superior corpses of better movies. Now, obviously, I'm a Canadian. I don't know a damn thing about the film culture of Thailand, but surely the original Jurassic Park came out there, right? Like, there's no way anyone went to see Lake and walked out thinking they had seen something original, right? Like, my Thai viewers, if there's any of you out there, please help me out here. Was this big when it came out there? Was Jurassic Park big when it came out there? Because, like, I get when you go and look up Thai monster movies, only like 6 show up, but I mean, come on, you guys must have at least seen Jurassic Park.
Big monster!
The clear selling point of this movie is the monster. Everywhere I saw this film being talked about, everyone was going on and on about how it was a practical effects movie. And y'all know, I'm a dirty little slut for practical effects. On that front, They delivered, at least in the case of the big monster. The smaller one is clearly just a dude in a suit, and I don't know if it's because they like lacked confidence in how it looked, but it's barely ever on camera, and when it is, they're always shaking the camera around like the camera dude was having a seizure or something, or they obscure the monster behind something else, or they keep it out of view. They treat it like the ugly child that you keep in the basement, out of sight, out of mind, like you just don't want the neighbors knowing about it. That being said, they try to do this thing where they try to build up suspense, like you don't see the attacks happening, you keep seeing the aftermath, like the bodies, the carnage. It's like they're trying to like make you like build up this monster's reveal, but they already showed the thing off in the opening attack before any of this happened. It's pointless to do this. Just show us the attack. Just show us the carnage. That's what we're here for. Quit trying to beat Alfred Hitchcock or some shit. As for the big mama, they show off in all its glory. From the chest up, that is. I mean, anyway, I guess they didn't want to build feet. I will say, it's an impressive and awesome looking design for a kaiju. You can tell that a lot of effort went into this practical effect, and the few sparing times that they do use CGI actually looks pretty solid too. You know what would have made it way cooler though? If it actually fucking did something other than just give everyone the Sam Jackson stink eye. It's like they didn't design the animatronic to do anything else other than open and close its mouth. It never bites anyone. It never attacks anyone. It just...
He's just standing there, menacingly!
This movie is the poster child definition of not living up to your potential. One of the most cardinal sins that a monster movie is capable of committing is being boring. And somehow, Lake is boring. This thing has a runtime of nearly 2 hours, almost all of which is spent focused on the people, or about the 1 hour 20 minute mark. The movie kind of feels like it ends. Like there's conclusion. There's like finality to it. It feels over. And I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of an anticlimactic way to end it, but whatever, I guess. And then I checked the runtime, and there was still 20 minutes left. How? Like, the editing and the pacing of this movie is one of the worst parts about it. It spends way too much time focused on the people. It does this thing. This is one of my biggest pet peeves in movies. I hate when movies do this, and I can't be the only one. Let me know in the comments if you guys feel like this is also an issue for you. I hate when movies have a big moment that happens, like in this movie, for example, the monster attack sequence at the beginning. Like right after that, there's like someone like a doctor or, you know, a cop or somebody talking to the survivor of the incident, and then the survivor looks upset and like clearly is like traumatized by the event, but then they have to show us like flashbacks to the thing that we just saw a second ago, as if we were stupid and forgot that it happened, even though we just saw it. Imagine if, like, for example, Captain Phillips, which has probably one of the best Tom Hanks performances I've seen, in particular at the end after everything's happened, and like Tom Hanks has that has that full emotional breakdown when he's talking to the medical people. Imagine if during that scene, instead of just focusing on his face, they cut back to like everything that we just seen. You don't need that. Sometimes just seeing the emotion on someone's face is clear. Like, we know seeing your uncle get attacked by a big monster and your daughter going missing is pretty traumatizing. Like, we know that. Like, in our hearts, we're like, oh no, that doesn't seem like a fun time at all. We don't need to see it again. We get it, okay? Like, the best part of this movie is the giant kaiju, but then even then, it barely does anything. Sure, it looks cool in some of the shots. Like, I'm not denying that there are some cool sequences in this, most of which are ripped off of other movies to begin with, but there are some cool shots, but you gotta sit through just a slog to get to them. Honestly, you'd probably just be better off like Googling images of this monster and just looking at the pictures. That's probably the best option. I would say skip it. Just go watch some of the other ones. If here's an idea. Do a marathon. Jurassic Park, The Host, Gorgo, The Lost World. Those 4 movies, just watch those back to back. That sounds like a hell of a night. Like, that sounds like fun. I'll take that over watching The Lake again. Missed opportunity, not as good as it could have been. Disappointing. Nah.